Hello everybody, this is Josh. You're at tsxtravels.com, and this video is going to give you a rough idea of how collision estimates are calculated and figured. The software I use for my inspections is Mitchell, which is done by Ultramate. It's Mitchell Ultramate. There's several different kinds of estimating software on the market. There's CCC, there's ADP, there's Mitchell, of course. They're all a little bit different as far as how they look and features that they have, but they all pretty much do the same thing. It's basically a database of vehicles, crash parts for the vehicles, labor times to replace the parts, and so on. But I'm going to basically use this opportunity to show you how to basically put an estimate together. I'm going to use my actual VIN number for the TSX. You decode the VIN in the software and it kicks out the year, make, and model, even kicks out the engine information. You can go into vehicle data where you can punch in license plate, production month. Right here it kicks out the high book value. This is tied into NADA because that's what the state of Idaho uses, is the NADA book. So high book value on my car is about 10.5. Not that much anymore. But when I punch in the miles, we know that I'm at 410,000 miles. It recalculates that dollar amount. So that hits about $3,000 hit in miles for my particular vehicle. Also has options, point of impact. This video isn't meant to be a tutorial on how to use the software. Just give you guys a rough idea of how an insurance company or an estimator at a body shop or an independent inspector such as myself, how we calculate and how we come up with the dollar amount involved in getting the car fixed. I'm going to use this Mitchell database or the profile. Let's go ahead and update. Most shops in the area are at $50 an hour. Tax rate is 6%. $32 for paint materials, and all this matters when it's calculating out total dollar amounts for us here. Going here. So ironically, the poster child layout for the car is a TL. Pretty sweet. The coupe version, it just takes the door away. If the car I'm looking at happens to be a coupe, it just takes this back line off, and it's a coupe TL. We wish, right? Anyway, so you can click on any one of these numbers that points to a particular part section, and it'll bring you over here and open it up. You can see all the different, we got the front bumper section, grille, lamps. This whole car is broken down into part sections. So since I hammered my front end, it makes sense to go ahead and start in the bumper section. I'm going to be doing this in a two-part because YouTube only allows me to upload a video that's 15 minutes or less, and here we are almost 5 minutes into this video already, and we haven't even put one line on the estimate. So I'm going to do two separate estimates, or two separate videos to cover this part. So if it sounds like I'm a little rushed for time, that's pretty much why. On my left I've got a timer that's keeping track of the time for me. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start with overhauling the bumper. Overhauling basically means, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so, well, since that came up, I'll explain what that means. As I add lines to the estimate, it kicks out the book time and the operation involved. Here's the labor type. B is for body. Labor operation. OV is overhaul, what we're overhauling. And here's the book time to overhaul the front bumper. Overhaul basically means you're taking the bumper cover off the car and you're stripping down all the hardware, all the clips, all the brackets, anything that's involved in holding the bumper to the car, or holding the grill to the bumper, and so on and so on. So as you add lines, it kicks down a running total. Here we are, $110. just to overhaul the bumper. And this ACV is actual cash value, and we're at 1% already. And then here we got, TSX Navi, it's an '05. The reason it keeps track of this ACV is because in a prior post I had talked about total loss, and kind of touched on what's involved and how they calculate a total loss. This down here keeps track of the percentage of dollar amount from the repairs to in comparison to the amount of the car. So $110 is 1% of this $7,500. And as we add stuff, this will go up. And when we get to 70%, that's the magic percentage for most insurance companies, because you got to factor in rental car costs for them, possible hidden damage, because 9 times out of 10 when you're estimating a collision prior to tear down, you can't see everything. You're just seeing all the outside stuff. So we'll write as much as we can, looking at it from the outside. But the fact is, once it's in the shop, it's torn down. You're likely going to find some more hidden damage, and that's got to be added to the estimate too. So insurance companies will write it up to about 70%, and that's when they flag it as a total loss. They'll start crunching numbers. But anyway, back to our estimate here. So again, we hammered the front end of my car, and I've got pictures here to kind of help with visually what we need on the car. And when you're doing the kind of work that I do, it's important to take lots of pictures. It's important to take notes, because when you're looking at 5-6 cars a day, some days, by the time you get back to the office, sit down to write it, they all start kind of blending together. So it's important to have good documentation, so that when you're writing your estimate, it's actually accurate and it's what the car needs. So we'll go ahead and start adding up what we need here, and you'll see that it goes pretty quick once you know how to use the software. You can just pretty much just go ahead and just click on the numbers. You can click on the parts over here on the descriptions. I typically will just use the picture diagrams. This is the bumper stiffener. The right side's junk, the left side's okay, so we're just going to add the right side to the estimate. We got the reinforcement bar is damaged. Half of the time, when you're doing estimates on a car, half the time when you're dealing with a body shop and repairs, half the job is just knowing what everything's called. This reinforcement bar has got several names. Some people call it the rebar, some call it the impact bar. It's just knowing what this stuff is all called is, half the battle in this industry. The other half of it is knowing whether it's a safety item that needs to be replaced no matter how bad it's damaged, or if it can be repaired. If so, how much time makes sense to repair it? Is it damaged so bad that repairs aren't feasible? You need to replace it. Anyway, and that's, you can go to schools to learn that kind of stuff, or just being around vehicles and being in this line of work. I actually grew up in a body shop family. My uncle has several body shops in California. My dad had a Corvette shop when I was a kid, so it's just something that I've always kind of been around. So anyway, it's based on a lot of experience and what a car needs to be repaired accurately. There's certification. You can get iCar certified and stuff. So moving right along, we've got the bumper is pretty much taken care of. We needed the rebar, the absorber, the bumper cover, the little side support that this actually bolts onto the lower part of the front fender, and that's what keeps this thing nice and tight, and keeps it from sticking out. Moving on to the grill section, we've got the grill upper cover was damaged, the grill itself was damaged, the molding, the crossbar, the beauty ring, and the emblem. So you can see as we go along, it just go ahead and lists all this stuff, kicks it down. We've got again, the body type or the labor type is body. R is for refinish, and this will automatically kick out for us because the system knows that the cover comes basically as a black plastic, a urethane plastic. Kicks out the part type, and W is new. Here's the factory part number. Cost for a new OE bumper cover is $354. So we've got 2.2 hours to overhaul, but then it also kicks out 1.8 hours to remove and replace the bumper cover. So this is one of the beauties of having this type of software. The alternative of the software is you can actually buy the books, and it's like having an encyclopedia set of phone books. And in each book is different years, makes, models, and so you got to go into the book, you got to find the correct year, make, model, then you got to find your parts, and then you got to type it into a Excel spreadsheet, or you got to handwrite it. And then when you're all done, you got to go back and you got to figure out overlap, because 2.2 includes the remove and replace, or the remove and install labor. So this software does that for me. So if I hit that calculate button up here, it's going to think about it, and then boom, now it says INC, because this operation is included in this operation. You can see a lot of overlap. There's included. All these operations are included in this time or that time or whatever. Now it also kicks out refinish time for us. Book time to paint a new bumper cover, 2.7 hours. It'll calculate clear coat for us, and it'll also calculate paint materials. So we're at $121.60 in paint materials just to paint the front bumper. So you can see how this software is an extremely valuable tool for someone in my industry. It's pretty cool. You know, you might be sitting there thinking, well, that's pretty cool. I'd like to, get that type of software. The downside is it's very expensive. This software costs me approximately the same as my mortgage on a monthly basis. The software is updated every month because you have factoring in costs of the raw materials. So you might go into your Acura dealership and say, hey, I need a front fender for my car. They'll look it up, they'll tell you the price, and then you go, all right, cool, and then you come back 2 months later and the fender costs either $25 more or it costs $10 less. A lot of that is based on the cost of raw materials and market, like the stock market and stuff, what the raw materials are selling for. So the parts prices actually fluctuate every single month. And to be current on all that, and adding new models as they come out as the years go by, you got to update the software. And to do that, get that up-to-date, software, it costs quite a bit of money. So for someone that's using it just as kind of like, something on the side, it's kind of cool. It's just financially not worth it. But for me, I can write off the cost. It's necessary, and it saves me so much time writing my estimates. It just makes sense to spend the money and get it. So let's see, going back over here, where were we at? We got to the grill. Let's go ahead and add the headlights real quick. I've only got about a minute left in this part of it. So we'll go ahead and add the headlights. You can see the headlights are 440 bucks each. We're going to need both of those. So we'll go ahead and add that. We'll calculate. And let's see. And so far we're at $2,700 already up to 37%. Again, this is all OE parts. We can do searches for aftermarket parts, remanufactured parts, used parts, and so on, but we'll get into that a little later. So for now, this is pretty much it for part one. Part two, I'm going to finish up the estimate, kind of wrap things up, and we'll go from there. So all right, stay tuned for part two. Thank you.